Today we're going to talk about referees I liked and referees I did not like as a Speedway racer. And there was some good referees and there was some bad referees. And I'm going to talk about them. The first referee was when I was just like 18 years old or so. There was a referee at the Santa Ana Bowl at the Eddie West Field. Do you remember? It was just a few years run by Louis Kossuth. And Louis made a mistake by having one of his referees had a son that was racing. And anytime there's a referee and then the son that's racing, it's kind of a conflict of interest. And the two worst referees that I experienced both had children that were racing Speedway, and the father was refereeing. So there's a little bit of bias, a little bit of prejudice, a little bit of not favoritism towards anyone but their son. And that's exactly what happened. There was a referee and he had passed away, rest in peace. I don't know his first name. I probably didn't care. We got in a lot of fights. And that was Mike Bloom's dad, Mr. Bloom. And Mr. Bloom was out there and, you know, he had bought Mike those Spider-Man leathers and Mike looked really good. And that's where I got the name, the Bumblebee, was at that track. And I didn't really do much to get the name Bumblebee, but the announcer gave that to me. So it was kind of like a rivalry, the Bumblebee against Spider-Man. But I didn't look at it that way. And Mike Bloom was actually a pretty good rider. He was quality and he was pretty fast. But I was just a little bit better than him for the most part throughout the year. And his dad, who was the referee, he wanted his son to be like number one at the track. But unfortunately for him, that I was there, and he was just a little bit behind me. But once in a while, his son would beat me, but it didn't happen every day, that's for sure. And the father got frustrated, you know, by his son not being able to have success. There was another rider in his way at the top, and that was me. So there was a main event, a scratch main event, and Mike was in the lead. He got a good gate. Like I said, Mike Bloom was a good racer. There's nothing bad about him back in the day. He was quality. And I was following him, and I have that will to win also, and I had a lot of success on that track. It was a quarter-mile track, the fast track. I loved racing the real fast, long tracks. I got to really fall in love because that was really the first long track I ever raced around a football field. And I really loved it, and I loved going fast on a Speedway bike. Anyways, getting back to the story, Mike was in the lead in the scratch main event, and after about 2 laps, I came underneath Mike and I kind of pushed him out because he was a little slower. And I don't know what happened really. I don't think he crashed, but he wasn't going to win that main event. I made sure of that. And I was just smoking it, you know, I was just flying on that track. And all of a sudden I come around through the finish line with about a lap or so left. And Mike Bloom's dad, he gave me a black flag. And if any of you that don't know what a black flag is, that means you're disqualified. That means you're kicked out of the race. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, I mean, I raced his son and I didn't hurt him. I didn't crash him. I bumped a slower rider out of my way to take the main event. So I don't know if that's illegal or not. I thought that was Speedway in my book because the fast guy wins and the slower guy doesn't win. And I had many successful nights versus Mike Bloom's very few successful nights. And I won the race. And he kept running at me with the black flag saying, get off the track, while I was racing. And I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you. I won the scratch main. And afterwards I asked him, what's happening? And he says, you're disqualified, dirty riding. And I go, dirty riding, what did I do? And he goes, you're dirty riding to my son, Mike. And I go, he wasn't dirty riding. He's a slow rider, and I kind of moved him out, but I didn't hurt him and I didn't crash him. There's nothing dirty about racing Speedway. And he goes, that's it. You're disqualified. My son, second place, he was still racing. He's the winner. Mike is the winner. And I thought, what a bunch of shit. You know? You cheating for your son so he could win? That's the only way your son is going to win a scratch main is by the father who's a referee cheating. That was like the worst thing I think I ever experienced, because I didn't really do anything bad. I can't say I'm a perfect angel, but I can say that I didn't do anything bad. And I was so mad. I think the whole week I just was fuming, because not only did I lose, I got kicked out of the race and got fourth place and made no money really for the night, which I won. I won that race. So I was pissed. I mean, I was pissed. And I said to myself, like, if that man sees me in the locker room the next week, I'm going to give him, like, my mouth. Because we changed in the football locker room at the stadium over there where they played football at the Santa Ana Stadium next to the jail and to the Civic Center and stuff. So the next week came, and I'm getting dressed, and then old man Mike's dad come walking by me because he was changing into his referee gear. And I told Mr. Bloom, I said, why did you cheat for your son? Like, that's uncalled for. Like, you should never cheat for your son, because that's not the way that you should win a Speedway race, is by illegally cheating. And if that's the only way that you can win a main event is by cheating, you guys are like full of shit. You know, you guys are crap. You know, I mean, what horrible kind of people is this? And I went up to Louis and said, Louis, why the hell do you have Mr. Bloom refereeing when his son is racing and he's cheating so his son can finally win a scratch main event in Division 1? That's so, like, bullshit. And then Louis is a nice guy, and he passed away too, rest in peace. And I have nothing against Mr. Bloom, but it was at the time I was young, and I wanted to, like, take that guy out. I was so pissed off. I don't get mad very often, but when people cheat me and scam me and like cheat for their child so they could finally win a main event, that pissed me off, because that was not a legal way to, Speedway. That was called cheating. And I called that old man out. I go, you are a cheater, dude. You're a cheater, and I can't stand you. Don't you ever cheat again. And I was like ready to take that guy on. I was so pissed off. I don't get mad, but when people take shit away from me that shouldn't be taken away, I'm getting really mad. And I have a fighting spirit when I'm pushed in a corner. And I was just so mad. And ever since that time, Mike Bloom and I, we never really got along, I think. And I tried making friends with Mike and stuff, but it just never really happened. And I have nothing against him or his dad, but I just think that his dad was probably the most horrible referee I've ever seen. And it's just sad when people are biased for their child. And no Speedway promoter should ever have a referee that has a conflict of interest because their son's racing. It just doesn't work. But anyways, that's my story of Mr. Bloom. Rest in peace. I have no hard feelings. It's been a long time ago. But let me tell you, at that time, I was ready to kick that guy's ass. I just was livid. And like I say, Mike and I, we don't really have any friendship. I tried to extend a few hands to be friends with him through the years, but didn't happen. I guess the blood runs deep of jealousy and that kind of stuff. So I just let it go and I move on with my own life. I have a great life. But I just remember the horrible refereeing, and I just don't understand why promoters allow this kind of stuff on a Speedway track. But that was an old story from the Eddie Westfield when I was only like 17 years old, and I was up and coming Speedway star, and I ended up quitting and going to college shortly afterwards after some serious accidents by Porky McCabe and others. But Speedway is a dangerous sport, and it's a difficult sport, and to have a referee take that away from you because he doesn't like you or he has a child that's racing against you. I think that's just literally bullshit. And that's my story. My worst referee. And I have more, but that's my first worst referee. And there's another one that's coming too. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And we're going to see you. Of course, we're going to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Rest in peace, Louis Kossuth and Mr. Bloom. God bless you both.